What if the exhaustion, irritability, and constant pressure you're feeling isn't just a busy season, but the early signs of burnout? A lot of attorneys experience burnout and don't realize what it is until it turns into a real crisis. Too many lawyers normalize this kind of pressure and tell themselves, this is just a job. In this video, I'm going to show you how to spot burnout early and what you can do right now to prevent it before it costs you focus, your clients, or your health. What if the exhaustion, irritability, and constant pressure you're feeling isn't just a busy season, but the early signs of burnout? A lot of attorneys experience burnout and don't realize what it is until it turns into a real crisis. Too many lawyers normalize this kind of pressure and tell themselves, this is just the job. In this video, I'm going to show you how to spot burnout early and what you can do right now to prevent it before it costs you your focus, your clients, or your health. Coming up, you'll learn three critical things. First, how to tell whether what you're experiencing is normal stress or the early stages of lawyer burnout. Second, what's actually causing burnout in your practice because it's almost never just long hours. And third, the specific steps you can take right now to reverse the trend and regain control before burnout starts costing you time, money, or your health. Here's the key idea you need to understand before we go any further. Burnout doesn't begin with collapse, it begins with normalization. High functioning lawyers are really good at adapting to pressure. So good, in fact, that warning signs start to feel normal long before they feel dangerous. You don't wake up one day burned out. You slowly adjust to things that shouldn't be sustainable. Think about the frog in the water analogy. If you drop a frog into boiling water, it jumps out. But if you put it in cool water and slowly turn up the heat, it stays there until it's too late. That's how burnout works for most attorneys. The pressure increases gradually. You push through discomfort. You tell yourself it's temporary. And because you're capable and responsible, you adapt. Burnout builds slowly and quietly, especially for lawyers who are used to powering through. Now, first, let's talk about the difference between normal stress and early lawyer burnout. Stress is situational. It shows up during a trial, a deadline, or a heavy week, and then it eases when the pressure eases. Burnout doesn't work that way. Burnout sticks around. It compounds. Even when things slow down, you don't feel better. This isn't about weakness, and it's not about how many hours you work. Burnout comes from sustained friction without real recovery. Now, let's talk about how to recognize it. One of the first places burnout shows up is in your head. These are the cognitive and emotional signs that lawyers often dismiss. Constant mental fatigue, even after rest, feeling irritable or short tempered, especially with clients or people you normally handle well, reduced patience, avoiding decisions because everything feels heavier than it should, or a lower tolerance for ambiguity where even small uncertainties feel overwhelming. These signs usually appear before anything visibly breaks in the practice. Next, burnout shows up inside the firm itself. Practice level warning signs start to appear. Everything feels urgent. Your calendar has no white space at all. You're constantly reacting instead of planning. Follow through becomes inconsistent, not because you don't care, but because your capacity is stretched thin. You may notice growing resentment towards certain clients or even routine tasks you used to handle without issue. Burnout often looks like operational chaos before it looks like emotional collapse. There's also a deeper sign that matters a lot, and that's identity drift. This is when you stop feeling satisfaction from wins. If you start questioning whether the practice is worth it, you feel disconnected from the reasons you became an attorney in the first place. This isn't a personal failure. It's a warning sign that something in the system is off. Now let's talk about what to do about it, starting right now. The fastest relief doesn't come from working fewer hours. It comes from reducing cognitive load. Decision fatigue is a huge driver of burnout. Every choice you make drains energy. So start by standardizing recurring decisions. Decide once how certain things get handled. Limit daily priorities so you're not trying to do everything at once. Create no decision defaults for routine matters so your brain isn't constantly on. You may also delegate these routine decisions to a member of your team. The next step is to interrupt constant urgency. False urgency is fuel for burnout. Not everything needs immediate attention, even if it feels that way. Learn to separate what's truly urgent from what's just loud. Use batching for emails and tasks. Set response windows instead of reacting all day long by checking email later in your day, like after lunch. Reset turnaround expectations where you can. This alone can dramatically reduce pressure. Then implement one small enforceable boundary. Just one. This could be around scheduling, client communications, intake, or not taking any scheduled incoming calls. The key is that it's enforceable and consistent. You don't need a dramatic overhaul. One clear boundary, applied consistently, can change how your entire day feels. These fixes work. They stabilize burnout quickly and give you breathing room. But they also reveal something important. If burnout shows up at all, it points to deeper structural issues in the practice. That's not a personal flaw, it's information. Recognizing burnout early and taking action now preserves options. It gives you control, but it doesn't permanently solve the underlying causes. Burnout didn't come from who you are, it came from how the practice is designed. Now, if you want more information on what you can do right now, check out this next video that gives you 4 simple boundaries to take control of your schedule. Getting back control of your day is a great way to fend off burnout.